Howdy guys, Attorney Walter Hnot. Now we're trying out a brand new poly sorta wow amazing webcam. I don't know how it's going to look. You have to let me know if the sound quality is good, if the video quality is good. Let me know, okay? All right, now here we go. We're going to go specifically into the 16 states that have approved stimulus checks and what's going on with the federal government specifically when it comes to this whole inflation situation. Because the federal government, they've been missing in action pretty heavily. So the states, the governors, the future potential presidential candidates, they're lining up and showing that they have what it takes to go ahead and become the next president. All right, let's get right into this thing. Please remember to like, subscribe, and above all, leave 5-star reviews. I'm going to put the little link in the chat section here. And at the end of the video, I'll put it into the comment section of the video, and I'll tag it so that we're all good. Now, with that said, this article is specifically from Forbes.com. You guys know I like Forbes, big fan of Forbes. Let's get right into it. Okay, here we go. 16 states have approved stimulus checks. Is yours next? And remember, some of these are going to apply more so to 2023 and not just to 2022. Okay, this was updated July 22nd, 2022. This is by Napolita, Nolisa, Rowan, and Kellyanne Smith. All right, here we go. All right, so with little immediate relief from the federal government in sight, right? They're talking about Biden. To respond to the record inflation, talking about Biden, some states are taking matters into their own hands, talking about governors that want to one day be president. 16 states will send or have already sent payments to taxpayers in the coming months. Prices without making inflations, plans focused on specific sectors or groups, such as gas cards or disbursements based on income thresholds, in theory could help ease the pain caused by prices on specific goods or services without putting as much pressure on prices more broadly, says Andrew Patterson, senior international economist at Vanguard. Now, let's go into this. Here's how the federal and state governments plan to bring taxpayers relief in a world of surging prices. So what's going on here? The basic fundamental with this whole thing is that a lot of people, rightfully so, expected from President Biden a fourth stimulus, right? There were 2 from Trump. They expected at least 2 from Biden. What I've always been amazed by is the total inadequate approach of the Republicans to attack the Democrats when it comes to their, political adjustment agenda. How do they go after them? Whereas the Democrats have always been masters at attacking the Republicans. Now, I don't know if it's that the Republicans just aren't as good with memes, or they can't get people together to do as many rallies or be as effective with the news cameras or the legacy, news stations. I don't know what the deal is. But the thing is, when Trump was in, everybody expected and demanded another stimulus. But with Biden in, it's like nobody's saying anything. It's incredible. And so I don't know what the magic is that Democrats have, but they're masters at attacking the Republicans. The Republicans always have been a bit behind the ball when it comes to basically attacking the Democrats. Now, the governors are stepping up. And as you can see, I want to make something very clear. There are certain governors, above all, in the blue states that are vying for a one-day presidential, let's just call it seat or chair. And so what that means is, California is the big one. They're trying to go ahead and solidify their future in it. Now, New York got knocked out because that governor was kind of disgraced. I mean, in a huge way. That means out of the California and New York, the East Coast versus the West Coast, California has been primed for that particular governor, Newsom, to go ahead and in the future be a potential presidential role model option, which means that 2024 comes around, it could be a Trump versus Newsom, could be a Trump versus Biden. We don't know, but realistically, it's going to be one of those two. All right, here we go. $100 per month energy rebate payment at the federal level. In March, Reps Mike Thompson, Democrat California, John Larson, Democrat Connecticut, and Laura Underwood, Democrat Illinois, introduced the Gas Rebate Act of 2022. The act would send energy rebate payments of $100 per month to eligible taxpayers through the end of 2022 and offer an additional $100 per dependent per month. Payment eligibility would be structured similarly to previous stimulant payments. Married filers filing jointly with incomes of up to $150,000 and single filers earning up to $75,000 will receive the full payment with phase-out levels for higher incomes. The legislation would need to make its way through Congress before payments can begin. Obviously, it hasn't yet been discussed. at the committee level, which is, of course, where most things die. They go into committee, everybody's rah, 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 and then they die there, and the American people get screwed. Like, if you were to think of, like, where's the dead zone where the American people lose the most, it would be the committees. And the committees are there with the sole purpose of providing a platform to discuss and make the bill better. But have you guys noticed that they go to the committees and then they just flatline? The bills flatline and die. All right, let's get into this real quick, specifically all these states that are offering these options. California up to 1,050 rebate. California's new budget includes payments of $700 for couples filing jointly, making under $150,000 annually. Individual taxpayers with this income cap will receive $350. Eligible households will also receive $350 if they have qualifying dependents. I personally obviously don't think that's enough, but then again, it's coming from the state level, and the states don't usually have the same budget as the feds. Taxpayers with incomes at $75,000 or above will receive a phased benefit with a maximum payment of $200 per individual, $400 per couple filing jointly. Households will get an additional $200 if they have qualifying dependents. The state plans to begin dispersing payments in October via direct deposit and debit cards. Now, one of the things I like to see here is direct deposit / debit cards as opposed to this mailed check thing. This mailed check thing, I mean, and yeah, the debit cards have a lot of the, fraud and stuff like that, but the mail checks, those things disappear left and right. And there's a lot of drug dealers using and abusing people who have drug problems that are grabbing those checks. So, I feel like with the debit card, at least there's some potential maybe of, them keeping their money. But at this point, if we don't ever fight this epidemic when it comes to narcotics, we're just going to keep seeing a lot of these stimulus payments going to the very, very poor, the very, very, the addicted, going to these horrible, horrible people. Colorado, $500 rebate payments. Colorado intends to send payments of at least $500 to taxpayers this year after Governor Jared Polis signed a bill in late May. The exact amount depends on state revenue totals, but lawmakers expect every full-time resident who files a 2021 tax return before June 30th will receive a payment in September. Delaware, $300 rebate payments. Now remember, we're looking at different schedules here, 700, 500, now we're at Delaware 300. In May, Delaware started sending rebate payments of $300 to taxpayers who filed their 2020 tax return. The one-time payment is possible due to a budget surplus. Couples filing jointly will receive $300 in cash each. Payments were distributed to most eligible Delaware residents in May. So this was a while ago for this particular state. Instructions to claim the rebate haven't yet been released for residents who haven't filed the 2020 state tax return. Instructions are anticipated to be announced by October 17th. So coming up for the second round, specifically for Delaware. Now, Florida has been added. Florida, $450 payments, some Florida households with children. And this is the one thing that gets me a little bit like, what the hell? I get it. I get why it's just going to people with children. But in my opinion, they need to include also impoverished, homeless individuals. That's incredibly important. But Florida's always been this push for those who have children. My standpoint is there needs to be more of a broader definition going to basically those under a certain income level, but that's not how they roll. Some Florida households with children will receive a one-time payment of $450 per child as part of the HOPE Florida, a Pathway to Prosperity program run by the Department of Children and Families. Eligible recipients include foster parents, relatives, and non-relative caregivers of children, participants in the State Guardian Assistance Program, and families receiving temporary assistance for needy families, TANF. You don't have to do anything to receive your payment. If eligible, you get your payment automatically by check. Okay, delivery is anticipated to take place by mail on or before July 25th, when the state's back-to-school tax holiday begins. So they're getting it right now. A letter accompanying the check states to offset the cost of rising inflation, especially with the new school year. Approaching the state of Florida is giving you $450 for each child in your care, according to the Tallahassee Democrat. So the bottom line here is that, Chrissy Hughes, howdy. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. Excellent. So my big problem with Florida here is that they're not acknowledging those retired and those disabled who essentially are in a negative situation because their cost of living adjustment, what the federal government calculated for them, is way too low. So the value of their dollars is significantly getting reduced. And then on top of that, you've just got basically a situation where they're not going to get much of a boost and their dollars are devalued and there's no hope of them having really more money coming in. If they're disabled, they're likely not working. If they're retired, the expectation that we have to force them to go back to work is not a good deal. So when I see Florida just putting it out towards the parents with children, I get it. But I would like to see more going to the disabled, more going to the retired. Georgia, $250 rebate payments, thanks to a historic state budget surplus. Remember, now we're at Georgia, $250. $700, $500, $300, $250, Florida, $450, but only to those with children. Georgia, 250 rebate payments thanks to a historic state budget surplus. Remember, these are rebate payments. Georgia residents who filed both their 2020 and 2021 tax returns, so you got to get both in, will be eligible to receive rebate payments based on their tax filing status. Single filers, maximum 250, head of household 375, married filing jointly 500. If you owe income tax or other payments to the state, such as delinquent child support payments, you may receive a smaller rebate. Partial year residents may also receive a smaller rebate. Residents who filed their taxes before Governor Brian Kemp signed the legislation will receive their rebates via a separate payment. Georgia taxpayers can learn more via the Georgia Department of Revenue. Now, look, when these people owe delinquent child support payments, I mean, I hope that they have a scheduled system in place for those who are trying to meet it and those who just don't care and are not filing it. I know a lot of deadbeat dads. I represent a lot of deadbeat dads. And at the end of the day, the bottom, some of them want to spend time with their kids, but they've just, everything's been so screwed up in their life. They just, they don't know how to reattach. And the reality here is that they could really use this money. But, obviously they're delinquent. So I see Georgia kind of kicking them in the butt and saying, once again, you're getting no help. All right, next, Hawaii, $300. Now, Hawaii is an interesting place. It's one of the most expensive places to live, kind of like Alaska. It is one of those situations where, okay, so like when I do those videos specifically on every single state, which is the best state to live in, which are the worst states to live in, if you have Social Security disability benefits, some of the best medical treatment, bottom line, comes from blue states. The most expensive and completely unaffordable states are almost all blue states in the top 5, but for Alaska being number 5. So you have one of these problems. Do you want great medical care? Do you want to not be able to afford anything else? It's one of those sort of situations. Okay. All right. So let's see real quick. All right. Hawaii, $300 rebate payments. In January, Governor David Aichrai, I'm not sure, proposed sending a tax rebate to every Hawaiian taxpayer. Taxpayers earning less than $100,000 per year will receive $300, and those earning more than $100,000 per year will receive $100. Dependents are eligible for the rebate too. The ironic thing is that the people earning more than $100,000, more of those dollars that they receive are worth significantly less than what they should have. Arguably, somebody could say that they should receive an equivalent amount, but in America, we don't look at it that way. We look at it as the rich should suffer. But $100,000 or more, let's say it's $101,000 that the person receives. That's not a lot of money in the modern day. And $100,000 received in Hawaii is nothing. That money doesn't go anywhere in Hawaii. I mean, that's that in Hawaii, it is extremely expensive to live there. And I mean, obviously, because it's paradise. I mean, if you guys have been there, it's paradise. I went there when I was a really little kid, like 10 years old. And I remember the amazing morning breakfast they had. They gave me a plate. Oh, and this is so special. It had a pancake that had a fruit and a whipped cream face drawn on it. It was like, no, the most amazing thing ever. You can go into the beach and the water and you can feed these giant fish and not get attacked by a shark. It's just incredible. I absolutely loved it there. And then when you go to the local stores, like the junk store, there's like a lady there to put, I don't know if they do that anymore. I mean, this is like 1,000 years ago. There was a lady there to put the flour thingy, it's just, they did it right. All right. Idaho. So we're going too far back into what I want to be living like. Idaho, $75 rebate. I really want that happy face pancake meal. All right. Idaho, $75 rebate payments. In February, Idaho Governor Brad Little signed a bill that allocates $350 million for tax rebates to Idahoans. There are 2 criteria for eligibility: full-time Idaho residency and filed 2020 and 2021 tax returns, or full-time Idaho residency and filed grocery credit refund returns. Well, that's interesting. I think it's interesting that they want you to file the 2020 and 2021. I get it. I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, people are way behind on all their tax stuff. And yet the IRS is still way behind. In fact, they're looking at giving $80 billion to the IRS so that they can find you and tax you more. Because if you don't think you're paying enough tax, they'll find it. All right, the payments began in March. Each taxpayer will receive either $75 or 12% of your 2020 Idaho state taxes, whichever is greater. Oh man, $75. I mean, what is that going to do? I mean, you get like toothpaste and like, fruit and meal for a week. And not even a week. That's Idaho could do better. It could do better. Because remember, 700, 500, 300, 250, 75. All right, so the rebate is applicable to each individual taxpayer and each dependent. The tax commission will first issue rebates to taxpayers who receive refunds via the direct deposit, then send paper rebate checks. State residents can also check the status of their rebate online. Cool. All right, good. Oh, Illinois coming in with the $50. The $50. If you've got a date and you go to the movies, that's it. I don't even know if that pay. I haven't look. I haven't been to the movies in forever and a week. I mean, I gotta go to Publix and basically do some pre-date analysis and figure out how to get one and work that stuff out. Let me tell you, if you go there and you start looking around, I've noticed things. Women do not hang out in the egg section very quickly. They're very specific about what kind of eggs they've got. So, all right, here we go. Illinois $50 rebates. In April, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker included rebate checks for state taxpayers in the state's budget. Rebates are available for residents making less than $200,000 per year, $400 per couple filing jointly. Each individual will receive $50 with an additional $100 per eligible dependent, up to 3 kids per family. A rebate payment schedule has not yet been released. I don't know. Okay, Illinois, but that's never going to get you $50. Come on. Indiana, $125 rebate payments. Remember, that was more than double Illinois. Like Georgia, Indiana found itself with a healthy budget surplus at the end of 2021. In December 2021, Governor Eric Holcomb announced that Indiana taxpayers will get a $125 one-time tax refund after they file their 2021 taxes. Okay, all right. There's no income requirement. Residents must have filed a tax return. All right, so that's interesting. This one has no income requirement. Okay. All right, so residents must have filed a tax return for the year 2020 by January 3rd, 2022, as well as a 2021 Indiana tax return by April 18th, 2022 to be eligible. That sucks. A lot of people are going to be filing late, so you're just kind of screwing over the people that can't get the taxes in. Payments started in Maine are expected to continue through midsummer, according to a state information page. Taxpayers who filed jointly will receive a single deposit of $250. Wow, what a date night. Most taxpayers will receive their additional refund by direct deposit. If you change banks or don't have direct deposit information on file, you'll receive a paper check in late summer, which will be stolen by half the people that know how to steal them. For more information, visit the State Department of Revenue, blah, blah, blah. In June, Holcomb announced a plan to send additional payments of about $225 to taxpayers, but it hasn't yet been approved by the state legislature. Well, yeah, I mean, when you're only sending out $125, I mean, come on. Whoa, look at this one. Maine, $850. Like I thought California was up there. Maine, $850 direct relief payments. I mean, that is a saucy amount. That'll get you to the surf shop to buy a boogie board and a trip to the one-time Hurricane Beach. Let me tell you, Governor Janet Mills signed a supplemental. Rob, thank you so much. Honolulu is great. Dole Farms everywhere. Waikiki Beach, yeah. I want to go back there one day. I just want to go there, go boating, make mistakes. I just want to go there. Anyways, so Maine, thank you for the $5 donation. Maine, $850. All right, let's see what it's got. Budget April 20th to authorize direct relief payments of up to $850 from Maine taxpayers. Full-time residents with a federal adjusted gross income of less than $100,000, so that's your cap. Let's see, 150 if filing hit a household, 200 for couples are eligible. Couples filing jointly will receive one relief check per taxpayer for a total of $1,700. Yeah, it's $850 times 2. Taxpayers are eligible for the payment regardless of whether they owe income tax to the state. Whoa, Maine, trying to become a president right up in here? Let me tell you, residents who did not file a state tax return for 2021 can file through October 31st to claim their payment. Yes. This is good. This is good for Maine. Not everybody can file their tax return on time. The one-time payments, which are being funded by the state surplus, start rolling out via mail in June to the address on your 2021 Maine tax return. The supplemental budget also includes an increased benefit for Maine's Earned Income Tax Credit EITC recipients. Okay. Maine's the winner. I would have never thought Maine was the winner. Like that to me just wasn't, I didn't think that was going to be it. Minnesota, look at this. Look at you, big baller, Minnesota. $750 payments for frontline workers. It's just frontline workers. So how do you define that? You know what I mean? Like, it's, I always get a little bit frisky when it comes to the whole, how do you define that word? And frontline workers, I feel like, Some frontline workers can receive a one-time payment of $750 thanks to a bill signed by Governor Tim Walz in early May. Eligible workers must have worked at least 120 hours in Minnesota between March 15, 2020 and June 30, 2021 and were not eligible for remote work. Workers with direct COVID-19 patient care responsibilities must have an annual income of less than $175,000, which is all of them, between December 2019 and Jan 2020. Workers without direct patient care responsibilities must have an income of less than $85,000 annually for the same period. You can apply for the payments through July 22nd. So basically, that's all of them. That's all the people in that. So basically, this was a COVID thank you payment. Walz has more recently proposed using the state's $7 billion budget surplus to fund a generous relief package proposing that Minnesotans receive tax rebate checks of $1,000 per person. Somebody is trying to knock Maine off of the mountain. Somebody is trying to, I don't know if you guys don't know where Cadillac Mountain is, but that's the biggest mountain on the East Coast, on the water, in Maine. And I go there and eat all the blueberries on that mountain. It's part of Bar Harbor. It's part of the National Park of Acadia. And that's literally the only tax break I get. I go onto federal land and I eat all them berries. All right. Walz has more recently proposed this, $1,000 per person. Let's see what he does. That would be the biggie fry to those people. I mean, $1,000. You're getting into federal territory now. If Minnesota comes out with $1,000 per person, that's federal level money spending. New Jersey, where the farm is, where you guys saw me working on the farm and doing all that stuff, $500 rebate checks. Now that surprises me because New Jersey is the highest taxes and the, blah, blah, blah. You pay a lot, you don't get a lot. New Jersey is really, really bad when it comes to this stuff. In fall 2021, Governor Phil Murphy and the New Jersey state legislature approved budget measures to send a one-time rebate checks of up to $500 to nearly 1 million families, which is not that many families compared to how many people are actually in New Jersey. Now, Murphy has proposed earmarking an additional $53 million to send $500 payments to those who file taxes using a taxpayer identification number instead of a social security number. That's kind of weird. Those who file tax use a tax, so they want you to basically just get used to using the new taxpayer identification number. These newly eligible people would include non-resident, resident aliens, their spouses, and dependents. Whoa. Super liberal. That's like throw a ball as left as you can get. They're sending payments to resident aliens, non-residents, their spouses, and their dependents. Wow, man, that is as super extreme liberal left as you get. I did not expect that from New Jersey. New Jersey usually taxes you more, gives you less, and then has their hand out by the time you go, what the hell? And they're saying they're going to find $53 million bucks to send their, New Jersey people, but then also the newly eligible non-residents, resident aliens, their spouses, and their dependents. Whoa, man, that's out there. You expect that kind of stuff from California, not New Jersey. New Mexico, $500 rebates. So New Mexico is kind of in the middle upper on this one. In early March, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham signed a law to send multiple rebates to state taxpayers. Taxpayers earning under $75,000, blah, 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 will receive a rebate of $250, $500 for joint filers. The rebate will be issued in July and sent automatically to taxpayers who filed 2021 state return. It's like they're just trying to get you to file your return so that they get whatever tax money you're supposed to send them. Another rebate will be issued to all the taxpayers. Single filers will receive $500 and joint filers will receive $1,000. This rebate will be split into 2 equal payments delivered in June and August. Oh, they're splitting up their payments. They're getting a payment plan. They're waiting to see who's going to pay their taxes. The funds will be sent automatically to taxpayers who filed 2021 tax returns. A taxpayer earning under $75,000 annually could potentially receive up to $750 with the combined rebates. All right, so we're talking, New Mexico's big money here, $750 potentially if you're earning under $75,000. Residents who don't file income tax returns will also receive a rebate in July. Single individuals without dependents will receive $500. Households with married couples or single adults with dependents will get $1,000. If you file your 2021 state income tax return by May 31st, 2023, you'll receive your rebate by direct deposit or check. If you owe tax from your 2021 return, it will be deducted from your rebate amount. Oh, they're going to get that money and keep that money if you owe that money. It's gone. Oregon. Now, Oregon's way the hell over there. Just see, if you guys are wondering where it's so, but keep going. The trail, it's over there. In March 2022, the Oregon legislature voted to approve a one-time $600 payment to some residents. Here we go. Taxpayers who were eligible to receive the Earned Income Tax Credit, EITC, on their 2020 state tax return and who lived in Oregon for the last 6 months of 2020 were eligible to receive one-time payments per household. The state used federal pandemic aid to provide these direct payments to low-income residents, and more than 236,000 households received a payment. All payments were distributed by direct deposit or mailed checks between June 23rd and July 1st, so they already got them. So if you didn't get one, I'm sorry. All right, South Carolina. That's a pretty big one here. Rebate checks. It's a rebate check. Okay, so if we're talking, if we're talking stimulus-y, fourthy stimulus-y, kind of, inflationary, checky, whatever, it's a rebate check on this one. South Carolina. Rebate checks of up to $800. A budget plan approved in June earmarked $1 billion for a state rebate that will provide a one-time payment of up to $800 for some taxpayers. Details for obtaining the rebate, which is expected to be dispersed later this year, have not yet been announced. Okay, all right. What's interesting is to see how much money they get to play with, because remember, some of these states, they got a lot of people in them, and some of the states are huge, like California, Texas. The states are huge. They got a ton of people. In Florida, some of these states are big, but they don't have that many people. So $1 billion goes a long way. Virginia, only 250. Remember, we were talking, all the way up to $1,000, and then we have one that was like $50, and now we're at $250. So they're on the very low, on the lower end of the middle. Virginia General Assembly approved a one-time tax rebate in June. Tax rebates won't be issued until late September. Residents who filed a tax return prior to July 1st will likely receive their rebate in September or October, according to Virginia Department of Taxation. Okay, taxpayers who received a refund via direct deposit will receive the rebate of $250 per taxpayer. Okay, cool. Residents who have moved or changed their name should update their information with the Virginia Department of Taxation prior to August 1st. They're giving you a cutoff there. If you changed your name or you moved, you better let them know. Pending state gas rebates and stimulus programs. While not yet approved by their state legislature and signed into law, 5 states have introduced legislation for gas rebates, direct stimulus check payments, grocery tax cuts, and income tax rebates for their residents. Kansas. All right, so these are like your second runner-ups. You're like, they're dipping their toe in the kiddie pool to see if they want to give out any money, but they really want to keep it. Kansas, Governor Laura Kelly proposed a one-time tax rebate of $250, $500 for married for Kansas residents who filed 2020 state tax return, but the rebate to be paid for with a state budget surplus wasn't finalized before the state legislation session ended in May. So Kansas Governor Laura Kelly is not planning to become president one day, I can see. Kentucky. I love Kentucky. Some of the best aluminum boats come out of Kentucky. And the people there, they're special. Kentucky Senate approved a $1 billion rebate for taxpayers thanks to the state's budget surplus, but it languished. Once it reached the House of Representatives, eligible Kentuckians would receive a one-time payment of up to $500 and up to $1,000 per household. The state legislature has adjourned for the year, so it's not likely residents will see relief in the near future. Isn't that amazing that we don't force our politicians to meet every single month and legislate every single month and come out with at least so many bills every single year? Isn't it amazing that we just let them go to fancy meals, eat steak dinners, take pictures with their family, put their hand on a Bible and say they did enough? I don't know why we don't, let's get on them. Let's a little hop here, Massachusetts, on July 7th, state lawmakers announced a proposal to send $250 rebates to some Massachusetts households. Taxpayer Energy and Economic Relief Fund to be paid for with the state's budget surplus would send eligible individuals $250, married couples $500, blah, blah, blah. Eligible taxpayers would need to have a minimum income. Well, that's interesting. A minimum income of $38,000 in 2021 and a maximum of $100,000, $150,000 for couples filing jointly. Oh, that's interesting. $100,000 or $150,000 for couples filing jointly. The plan must be approved and signed by the governor by July 31st. We're past that, so I'd have to look it up. In order for the payments to be distributed in October, as proposed according to the Boston Globe. North Carolina, drive through it all the time when I have to go to New Jersey. North Carolina is a 6.5 billion budget surplus. Damn, they're doing good in North Carolina. That sweet tea must be doing all right. Which some Democrat lawmakers want to use to deliver tax rebates. A bill in the General Assembly would grant $200 checks, only $200 checks, $200 checks to residents, namely licensed drivers over 18, but has been met by opposition by state Senate Republicans who would rather see long-term tax reduction rather than a one-time rebate. that's an interesting thing because, let's call it like it is. If they got a way to lower taxes on the long term, you could save more over time. Pennsylvania has legislation pending that would provide up to $500 million in direct assistance to, you know what they could do in North Carolina for those under a certain income level, get them the check. For those over a certain income level, set it up so that basically they get tax savings over an extended period. I mean, that's what those two groups are looking for mostly. Pennsylvania, farm country, people that like tractors. Very good. Pennsylvania has legislation pending that would provide up to $500 million in direct assistance to help families pay for expenses like childcare and household expenses. Under Governor Tom Wolf's PA Opportunity Program, households with an income of that's household, the whole household, income of $80,000 or less would be eligible for a one-time $2,000 payment. The payments would be funded with American Rescue Plan Act, federal funding that was granted to the state. Okay, so basically, they're not dipping into their surplus there, which is odd because, Pennsylvania is a lot of farmland. When I tried to buy a tractor for New Jersey, I tried to buy them from the Pennsylvania people. They will not work a deal for a tractor. They won't do it. They don't want it at all. They love their old tractors. They think they're tractors that are like dying and rusting away and the diesel engine spitting out smoke out the butt of it. They think that tractor is worth way more than it actually is. How dare you, Pennsylvania people? I'll have to find somebody else to sell me a tractor. Stimulus checks. Even with all these measures making their way through various legislatures, Americans remain crunched between what they need and what they can afford. And while gas rebates and stimulus checks can help buffer the blow of rising prices, these are those who remain leery of sending out additional payments, especially with past economic relief programs believed to have contributed to our current rate of inflation. All right, here's my thing with that argument. The argument where they're like, look, if we send the American people stimulus checks, if we send them money, right, then we're going to make the recession even worse because they're going to spend that money. So what they're saying is, like, if we just reword that in a very simple fashion, what they're saying is, if we keep Americans poor and unable to buy things, right, if we make them suffer, then basically the recession will go away because the quality of people expecting to, buy products and sell products, the whole buy and sell, like the basics of economics, it'll improve over time for our ability to buy products and sell products, not only internally, but externally, internationally, at a good price for America. We could fix a lot of this with lots of other types of legislation having to do with international taxes for pricing for products coming in, how much we sell products that are going out for, what we do with our raw materials, how we make it easier for people to, get gas out of the ground, get lumber out of the ground, etc. We could do a lot of things. Effing over the American people so that they don't buy too much food is what I think is the sleaziest move. It might be the sleaziest move we will see over the 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, whatever, period. And here's why. I mean, there's been a lot of sleazy moves out there. When you group all of the Americans that need money to be able to survive into if we give them money, they'll spend it, and that spending will hurt us, and that mentality, what you're saying to those American people is, if I keep you poor and allow the wealthy to continue to do their thing, right? Getting money, investing it, but not really spending it on products that will ultimately make a worse recession. What they're saying to the American people is, politicians are willing to hurt you for the benefit of them not using their alternative means to increase our GDP capacity. Which, just to solidify, if you take that down to its core, what they're really saying to you is these politicians value other countries and their relationship with them more than the Americans that literally hired them to sit in those chairs. Jamie Peters, assistant dean and assistant professor of finance at Maryland University in St. Louis, explains that for some lawmakers, inflation-related stimulus payments will simply feed the beast, putting even more money into the market where the supply of goods can't meet demand. This creates a conundrum for families who are coming up short on the supply of funds to get goods they need each day. Here's my problem with that suggestion. Why? Why are there not enough available products for purchase? Why is there not enough food? Why is there not enough fuel? Why? At the end of the day, you got to say to yourself, all right, did all the lumber people magically fall asleep? Did all the fuel people have a tough time getting the trucks to get to where they need to go? I mean, if it were me, they just had a break. They got a bunch in storage. They've been producing and they got to get that stuff to market. But yet at the same time, we're saying, well, even though all these people likely have stuff in reserve, maybe they're playing a game. Maybe they're holding on to it. No. If they could sell it, they would sell it. You know why? Merchandise in reserve is merchandise waiting to be sold. You might play a little game here, a little game there, but you're not going to play a 6-month game. And you're definitely going to want the government to fund people to go buy more of your product. Because if they're not buying your product, then you are shit out of luck. All right, my question to you guys with this video, here's my question, okay? Do you feel that the United States government, when a cost of living adjustment occurs that is over a certain percentage, 5%, 7%, 9%, 10%, do you feel that the citizens of America should automatically get a stimulus payment since their money was devalued to the point where it's not worth as much as it should be due to the money managers, the politicians, not accurately sticking a soft landing? I mean, they missed the soft landing. Right now, their wheels fell off and the bottom of the plane is gliding against the runway. Do you feel that you should automatically, by law, be due a stimulus when they screw up the economy that bad? And you tell me where you think it should be. 5% COLA, 10% COLA, 11% COLA. Where do you think the line should be where they automatically have to pay you more as to their piss poor management of your money? I'll catch you guys later. I'm going to be back in a not too distant future. I'm going to be doing another video specifically on that topic. If you like this video, I hope you did. Please leave a 5-star review. Please remember, I beat up on everybody. If you really, really like President Biden, there's certain things I really like about him. Right now, I feel like financially, he's doing a huge disservice to the disabled and the retired who are on fixed income. And as a result of that, I'm picking on him. I've sent letters to him recently, and they're not nice letters. But anyways, guys, I'll catch you a little bit later. Give me about 10 minutes. We'll get up the next video, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.